So welcome to Lights, Camera, Visibility. These are brand awareness and visibility strategies for startups. And before we get started, I like to teach. I'm a teacher by nature, and I want to people, you can raise your hand, you can say it out loud. What is the one thing that you want to learn today so I can make sure that I'm doing my part? Bravery. Who else? Ching ching. What else? Not to look like a fool. I get it. Awareness. Buzz. Differentiation. I love that. Anybody else? How to stand out. You already standing out. I see you. Okay, so for people who do not know who I am, my name is Carrie Thomas-Amaro. I'm a visibility coach and a brand alchemist. I am the owner of Solasta Digital, which is a bespoke visibility and marketing agency. I have a degree in humanistic psychology. I am obsessed with understanding how humans think, feel, do, like all the things. I also started my business July of 2019, but because I was working in a beautiful corporate place called Subway, I did not take my business seriously until I quit my corporate job. Let's look at this date, guys. February 4th, 2020. I was like, I'm about to quit. It's about to be amazing. And then the world shut down, and I was like, oh, might not be the move. But because of some of the things that I'm gonna show you and other things, within 6 months, we actually hit our first 6 figures in business. And that part is really amazing. But the part that's really been great is the fact that we've been able to help our clients hit 7 to 8 figures in their business, be able to go viral with millions of views, build audiences, get spots on stages, podcasts, and panels, all while being able to build an audience that's aligned with who they are as people. So that's just a little bit about me. So first things first, I feel like it's very important to understand what visibility is, because a lot of people are always like, what is visibility? What is that? Everybody says you have to be visible, you have to put yourself out there, but what does that mean? So visibility, in terms of the dictionary, is the ability to be seen. But in business, it's the ability to be seen by your target audience. And at the end of the day, visibility actually is just math. It's being able to understand the numbers that you have to be able to hit the revenue goals that you want. So 4 reasons why visibility is actually math. First, visibility is all about understanding your revenue goals. What are the goals that you're trying to hit? What revenue goals you're trying to hit every month, every quarter, every year? Guys, I'm a little nervous. Next one is understanding your conversion rates. It's so important to understand what is your conversion rates for your offers before you're able to understand what are you going to do for visibility. If you have a 10% conversion rate, own it, know it. Don't be like, I have a 50% conversion rate. Like people come in, 50% of people buy. If that is not true, your visibility numbers won't work. Next thing is doing the activities get you in front of the right people. And next is understanding how to be intentional and being able to spend time doing the things that actually work. So, show of hands, no judgment, how many people have a structured visibility plan that they're actually using today? I love the wave. 2. It's not math isn't mathing. You're okay. There's so many people in the same boat. And I want you to realize that a lot of people didn't raise their hand, so your fear or overwhelm be like, oh my gosh, it's not working for me. We're all in this together, okay? So, I like to create goals. I went to military college, I was telling them, and I'm very much about plans and goals. So first, I want to show you how your visibility purpose plays a huge part of your visibility process. We're going to understand the 2 most important content types that you need to be using. And then we're also going to learn how to be consistent with your visibility using your Visibility Flywheel. We can check this later, okay? So y'all can be like, did she do it? All right, who's ready to get started? Raise your hands. Yay, okay. Purpose. Why do we bother even creating content? What is our purpose for being visible? Why are we actually doing it? I like to say there are 3 reasons why we want to be visible. Reason 1, brand awareness. 2, we want to make direct sales from what we're doing. And 3, we want to make connections. Brand awareness. This is how you want to think. And this is what brand awareness is. You want to make sure when somebody sees your product, sees your logo, hears your name, they're like, I know that person. Or somebody says something and they're like, oh, I have the right person for you. Let me send you over their way. That is brand awareness. How you want to think about it when it comes to visibility is, how do I connect? What are the perfect stories that I can tell? Can I create a parallel universe between my client, me and my audience, my clients and my audience, being able to create a story that they feel seen, heard, and understood? How do I make sure they stay intrigued? What education is needed to be able for them to understand what we do? If y'all need to take pictures, take notes. I'll hold it. I want you guys to take action after this. I want to make sure you are doing the work. Oh, we have my friend writing notes. Think we're doing something. All right, next one, conversions. First, over $150 offer, you want to combine a brand awareness and conversion strategy. People don't like to buy things over $150 if they don't know who you are. So, if you have an offer under $150, here are your thoughts. What mindset shifts do they need to overcome? What objectives do they have? Do they feel seen, heard, and understood? And what I mean by that is, when you create your offers, people want to feel selfish. I know we're entrepreneurs, we have these great ideas, but at the end of the day, it's not about us, it's about our people. So how can they feel seen, heard, and understood with what we're doing and what we're saying? And next, am I answering their questions? What are the questions that they have? Not the questions that we have, what are the questions that they have? Pictures? Next, connections. Have I shared my mission? So connections, a lot to say, is let's say that you are building a community. Let's say you have a podcast. Let's say you're trying to do something where you're trying to build an ecosystem and an environment around what you're doing. This is their thought process. Have I shared my mission? Have I called my shot? Have I said, hey, I'm looking for these people to come into my world, call your shot? Do I actively collaborate with what they're doing? And how can I use my content to actually connect with them? Pictures. After you understand what is your purpose, the next question you have to ask yourself is, how do you want people to feel? What is the emotional response that you want people to have when they see your content, when they see your products, all of that stuff? What is that feeling you want to arise? Do you want them to feel inspired, comforted, joyful, amused, empowered, connected, curious, intrigued? What is that feeling you want them to have? All right, after that, now we have to build a plan. Now we're into understanding our content, understanding our visibility. What are we doing? I love the shaking of the head. You're working with me. All right, so there's 2 types of content. The first type of content is what I call foundational content, or we call in our business humanistic content. The second one is situational, or we like to call phone a friend. So foundational content, what I like to think about it as, is the fundamental things that you need people to know about your business. Situational is like the news. What are those things that, what are the things that people are like, oh my gosh, you need to talk about this? I thought about you and I was talk about this, share about this. And you're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. That's the type of content. That's what are the questions that they have? All right, so we're gonna get into foundational content. Take a picture, Y'all need this. So with foundation content, I like to say there are 5 themes. First thing I'm going to say before we get into the different themes is it takes around 15 to 21 touch points for people to become customers. The issue with this is most people only come to your page or only come to your website maybe once or twice a month because you're always talking about the same thing over and over again. They're like, you know what, I don't need that today. I'm going to come when I need what they have. So this is why we created this. So the first type is strategic content. This is your intellectual property about what you do, and why you do what you do is so different and outside of the box. The next one is resourceful. This is all about being able to provide somebody with micro quick wins to be able to come into your world. When I think about resourceful content, I like to think about it as people who might not be ready to work with you, but you always are giving them these like yeses. And they're like, you know what? Every time I come into their world, it's always so amazing. I'm actually ready now. I'm gonna go to them. The next one is heart content. This is your structural beam around your business. This is your mission. This is your purpose. This is your passion. This is where that founder story really comes into play. The next one is all things you. And before you guys are like, I'm not sharing my lunch, I'm not sharing my thing, this is about being able to share those stories that connects with your purpose, adds that little extra layer of understanding around like, oh, like I see that. And then the last one is client experience. This is where you share your case studies, your offers, your mission statement, your core values. This is where this kind of comes into play. It's so funny. I feel like I present this stuff all the time, and I'm like, why am I so nervous? I'm like, ah. So this is my little nerd moment. So each of these pieces of content are very strong by themselves. You will see somebody, and you'll be like, you know what? Every time I come to their page, they're so smart. I love how their brain works. But you only come to their page because you want to learn how their brain works. But you don't do that every day. You might do that once a month, once a week. So if you have a 15 to 21 touch points, imagine how long it takes for that person to become a customer. So that's what we add in these other pieces. And this is why I call the King Arthur round table of connection. So what ends up happening is because you're hitting people on these different points, they never know what to expect and they keep coming back. We've seen clients be able to get high-ticket offers done in 2 weeks because the people came back literally every day and pretty much digested all of their content. They're like, I don't know what to expect. What are they putting out? Like, this is so amazing. So, humanistic content. This is your thought process around how you want people to understand what you do and how you do it. But this is where things get kind of fun. Is when we start being able to understand how can we create content blends? How can we look at our content themes and figure out how can we layer them on top of each other? So looking at how can we create strategic and resourceful content? How can we create heart content on things you? Client experience and strategic, client experience and resourceful, client experience and heart content. How can we create those pieces to make it tighter with people? It now creates a layered story. Now, this is my favorite content. I feel like this content always is like, I feel like this is what I call my cash content. So this is the content where you phone in your friend. You're like, hey, you know, I've been working on this stuff, and I've been putting out all this content, but like, what do you really want me to talk about? And they're like, hey, Carrie, you know, I really like when you were talking about humanistic content, but I wish you would have gave some more examples. And I'm like, oh, I can give examples. I have examples all day. Make a piece of content around different examples of humanistic content. And the people are like, oh my gosh, Carrie, teach me more. This is so amazing. And I'm like, and what I like to say is like, when you're so close to your content, being able to ask somebody else, hey, what do you want to hear from me, is easier. And guess what? People love to talk and tell you what they think you should do. So just ask them. So now we're going to talk about visibility commandments. So the first commandment is we want to batch everything. We are not content creators. We are not dancing and putting on shows. We are business people that are leverage content and visibility to hit our goals. So we want to choose one day a month. Let's pull out that calendar. Let's choose that one day a month right now. We want to choose one day a month, and we want to plan our whole month around it. So what I normally do is I'll say, on the 31st, I'm creating content. I think for us, it is like the 30th. On the 30th, I'm creating content. So all month, I'm planning for that content day. I'm making sure that my schedule's light. I'm making sure that I'm prepared. I'm pulling out my outfits. I'm drinking enough water. I'm doing all the things I need to do to make sure that on content day, I'm ready to shine. Next thing, you want to have your content topics at least 2 weeks before your content day. And what I mean by content topics is actually just like getting a Post-it note and writing down all the questions that your people told you that they want you to talk about, and then ask yourself, what are the points that you want to make sure that you cover for your foundational content? And next, you want to plan about 3 to 4 hours for your content day. This is not an 8-hour day. This is not like a sun up to sundown. This is 3 to 4 concentrated hours to be able to create your content for the week, for the month, or even for 3 months. I'll be honest and tell you, I haven't created content since March, but we post every day. Next, you want to make sure you batch based off purpose and theme. So if you remember, we have our purposes that we did earlier, and then we might have our theme. So I was like, you know what? I'm doing brand awareness, but I really want to do brand awareness around this part of the top, around our product. So that's how you want to think about it. Next, use the flywheel. So most people are platform specific. So there's some people that literally only hang out on LinkedIn. They don't go anywhere else. But there are those people like me that hang out on all the platforms. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, I'm on all the places. So we want to make sure that they aren't just seeing our content. They're like, can they create something new? I just saw this on Instagram. Also, most people are forgetful, also like me. And I probably forget what you posted 2 weeks ago. So we want to take advantage of that. So I like to think of content as the same pie. The flywheel is the same pie. So we're going to consider this LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And then remember, we batch everything, remember? So this is how we think about it. The first, LinkedIn, we're going to do top to bottom content. Facebook, we're going to do bottom to top. And then on Instagram, we're going to do middle to middle. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, they put out so much content. Like there's content all over the place. They're doing all this different stuff everywhere. How did they do it? And you're like, one day, 3 hours, you're welcome. So let's say you do 30 pieces of content. When you schedule it or when you put it out, you do 1 through 30. Then you do 30 through 1. And then you do 15. Super simple, girl. Make it simple. Next, pet fish energy. I have a little story. So when I was a kid, we had 2 fish, Bird and Ernie. And Bird and Ernie, they didn't like their life. And they just kept committing fish-icide. And my mom would not let us know that they were committing fish-icide. All she would do is go to the pet store, pick up 2 more goldfish, and it'd be like, Bird and Ernie. And I think it was like a couple of years later, I was like, Mom, like, Bird and Ernie, they live so long. I was like, most people's fish die. She was like, this is like Bird and Ernie, like version 17. And I'm like, 17? And she was like, yeah, they just committed fish-icide. And then the more I thought about it, and when I was helping one of our clients create content one day, and she was like super stressed out, she was like, Carrie, I spent like hours working on my content, and nobody looked at it, nobody liked it, it didn't work. And I'm like, you just gotta throw some pet fish energy on it. And she was like, what are you talking about, Carrie? And I was like, when you batch content, you don't really, your emotional response to it kind of goes away. So what I did 6 months ago, I forgot how I felt when I did it. So if it doesn't go well, guess what? I throw another piece of content out like my mom did with Bert and Ernie. So like, that's what I say, like just put pet fish energy on it. When you do that, it actually helps with your emotional energy, because I see so many people get so stressed out about spending hours on content and then nobody liking it. They're like, nobody liked it. They didn't see it. I spent 6 hours doing this post. But if you spent 3 hours 3 months ago and you're like, oh, nobody liked it, guess what? There's another one coming out tomorrow. So that's how you want to think about pet fish energy. Remember that when you be like, you know what, throw a little pet fish energy on it. Okay, because I want to leave some time for questions. We're going to do our recap. We're going to do waves. All right. Do we feel like we've understand what are our 3 different type of visibility purposes? If that's a yes, give me some claps. Loving it, loving it. Do we think, how to think once we decide in our purpose? Give me some claps. It's a little light, I'm a little nervous. Let's try that one again. How to think once we decide our purpose. Make me feel better, thank you. How to leverage foundational and situational content. Adding the content calendar, the content date to your calendar today. This makes me happy, thank you. And how to stay consistent with your content using batching strategies. We did it, guys. We did it, okay. So, I'm gonna leave some time for questions, but I wanna go back because I had a, where is it? I don't know if you guys can get that, but if you, actually, it's on the other page too, I just thought about it. So if you scan here, you'll be able to take the Visibility Vitals Check quiz to be able to know where you are in your visibility journey, and then it'll give you tips on what to do to make it better. So I want to open it up for questions because questions is where I shine. All right.
Hey, thanks for a great talk. First of all, I want to say that it's hilarious that I rode the elevator up with you. Didn't recognize you. Carrie goes, I hope this presenter doesn't suck. And I was like, yeah, me too. She goes, I'm going to boo. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know you that well yet. I don't want to be locked into this. Anyway, amazing talk. Thank you for that. That made my day. Hey, I tend to wander off in the little details that you know, I get lost in the little details of the things I don't know how to do. Can you just talk really nuts and bolts about, like, when you schedule content on any of those 3 major platforms, what's the batch posting, like, how are you making that happen so that it posts automatically at the right time?
So I use a platform called SocialBee. SocialBee is amazing because they actually help you re-queue post. And I would say a good standard is 1 post a day, Monday through Friday.
Hold on to that mic and pass it on to somebody, and on this side of the room I'll have a mic. So anyone?
Hi.
Would you consider situational content to be like trending topics as well?
Yeah, you can use trending topics, but be careful about trending topics because sometimes trending topics don't always work for, I'll use an example, boo thing. You remember when it came out, everyone was like, I couldn't figure out how to use it. And I was like, I want to use it. So being able to understand how to use it for your, like for your company, your product, think first that and then think about the trending topic.
So I have a follow-up question. When it comes to like batching content, how are you, I feel like I should also be spontaneous and like living in the moment sort of type when I post sometimes. Do you recommend like still having those sporadic posts, or should it all just be scheduled?
If you feel it, do it. But like if you don't feel it, like, because there's times I'm like, not feeling it.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit
Okay, I'm ready.
challenging. I felt like your talk was great, but I felt very B2C. How would you modify some of the content you talked about today to apply for B2B?
So literally all of that goes to B2B, because most of my clients are B2B clients, and literally following the humanistic content strategy, and then also even talking to your clients, be like, hey, what's some things that you wish I would talk more about in my content? Like, I do that all the time with my clients, and they're like, oh, Carrie, I would love for you to talk about like outfit changes and like what you like how to prep for the day, how to create your environment. I'm like, you want to know that? They're like, yeah. So just ask them. Hey.
Hi. Okay. What if I post and I blow up and die? Do you have any advice for someone who's like so afraid and like is not actually on social media personally? Like,
If you blow up and die.
it happened. It's happened before.
So, are you talking about like you just go viral and things just go crazy, or are you talking about like you yourself like just like
My
poof?
heart. Yeah, my
Your heart. Okay. So.
Okay.
This is the thing that I'll say. So, you know, my degree's in psychology. And I like to say that my homeboy Maslow, you know, he had his hierarchy of needs. And at the bottom of that was pretty much your basic needs. And one of the basic needs was safety. And vulnerability and putting yourself out there on social media goes in direct competition with you feeling safe. So first, understand that that's okay that you feel that way. And then ask yourself, what are your safety thresholds for visibility that feels comfortable? And it might not be on social media. It might be in a community that might have your ideal clients. And until you get comfortable there, it's all about understanding how to do your thresholds. And a great example of this is like when you get into a pool and you're like, oh, this is cold. And then you sit there for a while, you're like, you know what, okay, I can do this. And you sink it in a little bit deeper, like, oh. So think about it like that. Just keep asking yourself, like, where do you feel comfortable? Hang out there until you're like, you know what, I can do more, and then do more. But just really just believe in yourself and know that, like, if you're not comfortable, don't do it.
Thanks.
Of course.
Hey, Carrie, I'll go next. I got this. All right. Hey, you're killing it. Loving it. Thank you. Question about combining brand awareness and conversion focus for things that are over $150.
Yes.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes. Okay. So how you want to think about brand awareness, if you remember, it's being able for people to understand what needs to be educated on. Like, what are the things that they need to know about what you do and how you do it. Also being able to understand your objections that you're going to have, be able to make sure they feel seen, heard, and understood, because your buying cycle is going to be a whole lot longer than if you have a less than $150 offer. They'd be like, you know what? They hit my objection, my mindset shift has changed, I'm buying. But now because you have a little bit more thought process of like, now the logical questions of, do I really want to spend this money right now? You have to really break down all of those beliefs. Of course.
Is there anything you can say about, I guess, paid posts, different kind of versus the different types you talked about, or?
Okay, so here's, I'm gonna give you guys the ad strategy that I use today. Okay, so my ads manager, she's amazing. And she told me, she was like, Carrie, like, what you're doing already is amazing. And I'm like, thanks. And so what we do is we do an idea of an engagement ad plus a lead ad. So the engagement ad actually are ads that are based off the existing content that you already have. You can do those as low as $5 a day. So you're actually just posting your content, you're doing your regular stuff, and then you're putting money behind it. And then on top of that, you're doing a lead ad, which now is gonna be a whole lot less, and you're using that to be able to get emails and stuff for people to go to your websites. And it's amazing. Okay, so engagement ads, existing posts, $5 a day. And then you're gonna do lead ads. You can do as low as, I would say maybe like $15, $20 a day. You can go up, of course. but that's a good plot. And that idea is to be able to get those people to your email list. And then what's great about it is you can retarget all these people because now all of them are a part of your audience. Genius.
Hey, can you speak to the different types of content that's appropriate for the different platforms? Because I know that we're repurposing a lot of this, but LinkedIn content is different than TikTok versus Instagram.
So I'm going to tell you this. I do regular short form video on LinkedIn, and people love it. Like, I'll have people like, Carrie, I went on your page, you did videos? And I'm like, yeah, because nobody on LinkedIn does videos. Yeah, like nobody does videos. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're doing videos. So actually leveraging that regular like short form video content on LinkedIn is actually really powerful. And then also you can use a app called Cast Magic. And with Cast Magic, you can actually upload those videos and they can turn it into like LinkedIn posts and all that type of stuff. Cast, like C-A-S-T Magic.
So microphones are coming this way. I'll bring this one over here.
I got a question. How do you feel about like emailing lists and gathering client info like through website funnels and stuff like that?
Yeah, so you want to make sure when you do some type of email list, you want to make sure it's something that they actually want. A lot of times what I see in the startup space, like they'll be like, join our email list, and the question is why? Like, why am I joining your email list? But if it's something that's going to be beneficial to me, it's almost like, give me something for me to give you something, because my email is valuable to you. So think about what is the valuable thing that you can offer, and then do that. But I would say yes, do that. And then what you'll do with your content is you'll say comment startup below, and we'll send you information, and that will be you can use like a mini chat trigger to be able to send them the information to actually opt into your lead magnet. Of course.
Yeah, I had a question about reaching your target audience. How do you make sure that the posts are directed to reach that target audience?
So the big question that you want to ask yourself is first, like, who is your audience? And then ask yourself, with your content, are you making sure that you're doing stuff that, one, is the questions that they're asking themselves, and how can you make sure that they feel understood with the content that you're doing? So you want to make sure that when you're doing your content and you're kind of planning it out, you're making sure that you're hitting on those points that they need to hear to be able to come into your world. You have to do the right content. So your content topics, do that. Yeah.
So when you were talking about the engagement ads, sorry, I'm going back to something you already talked about, but the engagement ads, like $5 a day, and then the leads ads, are you basing the leads ads like off of the engagement ads audience?
No, we do it as cold, but because we're getting so much engagement ads, like we're literally getting like, so we run a workshop every week, and we're doing about 400 leads a week, because we literally do it every week, and we're doing it like 92 cents a lead. But because we have that engagement ads happening on the back end, they're seeing our engagement ad, and then they're opting into our stuff.
Got it. So like they're completely separate campaigns that aren't running. Okay, so they're just like happening to see the same one because the engagement ad is like so large.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then you're remarketing all of the website visits from the lead ads, like with just a like audience from website visits or something.
Yeah. So we create an audience based off of like the personal life of our audience. So we want to understand who our people are as humans. So my people are kind of bougie. So we were like, we did like traveling, international travel, Cartier, like all these things that they would be interested in, and that's the audience we created. And then from there, we were able to kind of bring in our right people.
Got it. Thank you.
Of course.
When you're batching your content, do you have any opinions on like a good formula to follow? Some content creators that I look up to are always like, Monday is my Instagram carousel day, and Tuesday is my real day. Do you have any opinions or follow any kind of formula like that?
No, don't do it.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
There's another question in the very back. In the meantime, I'm going to ask one real quick, and this is really something that fascinates me, but how, as a psychological background is what I understood you to have, are you approaching any of your business aspects through the lens of how some of these things that we're doing are affecting our future generations and the way they think and the way that they act? Are you advocating on certain levels? Are you part of like any movements or any kind of associations that are trying to track and benchmark these things so that for the future we're really, it's worthy of being concerned to some degree, right?
Yeah, so I'm not a part of any association, but I am a part of Colorado Startups, so we do a lot of stuff with understanding like how to do that. But everything that we do in business is about understanding the human. So who is the human? What are the thoughts before they go to bed? How can we make sure that we create an intrinsic value for them so they feel like it's really big for us to make sure people feel seen, heard, and understood. I like to say the era of the know, like, and trust is over. Like everybody was like, no, I want you to know me. I want you to like me. I want you to trust me. We're like, no. How can I make sure that that person is like, you know what? They get me. They see me. They understand me. And really looking at that human focus in everything that we do.
Hi.
Hi.
I just have a question kind of bouncing off of that one with the carousels and the reels and then like stories and stuff like that. Is it better if it's consistent each week or if you just mix it up throughout the whole month?
So I like to say that you want to, like when it comes to consistency, it's making sure that you're at least like kind of following like a standard. So if you're always posting at least once a day, make sure you keep doing that. Don't keep posting once a day and then go off for like 2 months because it'll mess you up. But if you're doing your stories, we see sometimes where people are really active in their stories and then all of a sudden they'll see like a throttle down and then they'll stop for 24 hours and they'll come back and they'll throttle back up.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Of course.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Sorry. When I forgot. Never mind.
It'll come back to you.
It will.
We still have time. This is good. Yes, right here.
So you gave a recommended budget for like the engagement ads. Oh, I'm going back again, sorry.
Go back, girl, go back.
But you didn't give one for like the lead ads. Like how do you decide what the budget should be?
So when it comes to lead ads, how you want to think about it is how many leads do you want to have? So I want to say right now, I told you like we're doing about 92 cents a lead, and we're doing about 380 leads, like 380 leads a week. So we're running, I think $60 a day on ads to hit that number. Some people run, like I have clients that we had one client, like I don't know what she was doing. I was like, go ahead for it. She did $1 million in a month, but she was running like $16,000 a day in ads. I was like, how? I was like,
case study. So now I'm gonna look as one of your users. We want to know more about that. No, just kidding. But thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate
of course.
it.
So for the lead ads, like, are you using, like, for example, on Facebook, are you using like a lead fill out form on Facebook?
No. So I want to know. I don't know if I have internet here, but literally my ad, like, so we have an ad where it's like, how I created 73 reels in 2 hours. Like, that's the ad. It's literally a picture of me like this, and it's like 73 reels in 2 hours. From that, they click on that, they go to a opt-in page. It literally is a picture of me, how I created 73 reels in 2 hours, the opt-in form, and a small bio. It's so simple.
So you're actually sending them like to a website, like
yeah, it's to a website so we can be able to track the leads a little bit better, and it like because sometimes with the lead pages on Facebook they don't really work as well. What we've seen.
Right. How do you combat people who don't want to, they're addicted to Facebook and don't want to leave it?
They'll leave.
They'll leave. Okay.
Yeah, they'll leave.
Cool.
They'll leave.
I think it's me. Hi. At the beginning of your talk, you spoke of intentionality, and I kind of just wanted to dig into that for a second.
Of course.
So I work in PR, and I do some marketing as well. But one client I have is kind of like splatter painting with marketing between newsletters and social, and in-person event collateral of sorts. So when nothing is really moving the needle, I think it's really important to get far more intentional about doing less with better quality material. And I kind of just want to get your take on that, whether it's maybe just for social or maybe it's, in other vehicles where marketing collateral might live. What types of metrics are you looking at to gauge where a client can be most intentional with their content?
Yeah, so one of the biggest numbers that I look at is show up rate. And show up rates in your opt-ins. So we had a client that she was spending so much time like going live every day and like doing webinars, just doing all of this stuff. And then I came in, I started looking at all her numbers, and I was like, everybody's coming in from a lead magnet that you haven't optimized in years. And she's like, oh, that thing? I'm like, yes, that thing. So let's ramp that up. So then she stopped doing all of this. We were like, let's stop doing all the other stuff. And a lot of times with clients is if you show them the numbers, because numbers don't lie. Like if you show them numbers like, hey, this is not working, your opt-in rates are horrible, people are not showing up, like we're looking and we're seeing a super long customer journey process with this offer, like let's cut this down and let's actually look at the offers that are gonna actually drive the needle forward. And a lot of times when it comes to that, start asking them, when you start looking at offers, ask the question, are you preparing people for the offer? A lot of times we have a lot of high ticket clients, and when they come to me, they have like their high ticket offer and a freebie. And they're like, come in. And I'm like, who's gonna pay $30,000 from a freebie? No one. Unless they're obsessed with you. So they're like, oh my gosh, so what should I do? I was like, we want to create some type of bridge offer that prepares them and sets them up to be ready for that next offer. So that's how you wanted to tell them, like, hey, are we preparing people for the next offer? Is that why the conversion rates and things are not hitting the way they're supposed to be? Is our visibility strategy not educating enough to be able to prepare them for that bridge offer and then prepare them for the next offer? I felt like that was a lot.
Yeah.
If you're promoting in-person events, were there things you do differently for either just posts or ads?
So when it comes to in-person events, the first thing you want to do is you definitely want to run ads, but you want to be able to run ads to the zip codes that you're trying to get people to come from. That's the first thing. Second thing is you want to make sure that you have some type of solution or reason why people are going to come and travel. Because people don't like to travel. Like COVID, people are like, I'm lazy. Like, give me a virtual something. Even though they say they don't want it, they'll still sign up for the virtual if it's available.
Okay, from a B2B perspective, I feel like we're seeing more clients engaging less with sellers or with the website, and they're really finding their no BS reviews from their peers. Are you finding that? And if you are, how do you accommodate content to account for that?
So my clients are, what would I call them? They're lovely, sweet humans. I love them so much. But they like hurt my mental spirit sometimes. So every client that we've had, they don't like anything. They don't comment on anything. They don't do anything. So I'll be like, nobody likes it. Like, why don't they like it? Or I'll ask them, like, oh, where did you find me? They're like, oh, I've been following you for months. I'm like, you didn't like anything? You didn't want to comment? You didn't want to do anything? And what happens, so what we look at saves and shares. What are the saves that are happening? What are the shares that are happening? And then we'll be like, somebody's coming. They're on their way. Because you'll start seeing a lot of saves and shares happening right before we'll get a customer that comes in.
So saves and shares are like high quality or high indicators.
Yeah, especially for B2B because they don't want people to always know that they're looking.
Oh, got it.
Thank you. This was great. I work in the disability media space. Yeah. Have you worked with clients who are targeting organizations and corporations around accessibility in the digital space? And how does that work for you?
So we have one client, he actually, he does the software necessary to make sure that websites are accessible and things like that. So with his content, it was mainly geared towards regular entrepreneurs, but being able to show them the importance of making sure things are accessible to be able to be accessible for people with disabilities and things like that. It's a lot of education, I would say, is going to be the content that's going to be most important, and showing people why it's important and not leaving people out. Does anybody else have any questions? They're my girl.
So I'm getting ready to try out like a social media strategies person.
Okay.
How long should I give them, and what matrix should I look at before I'm like, okay, maybe we're not a good fit, I need to move on?
So I would say the first month, what you want to make sure is they actually lay out a really clear strategy that you feel comfortable with and you understand. And then I would say after that, 3 months is a good indicator, but make sure they're sending you metrics and they'll be like, hey, these are the numbers this month, these are the numbers this month, so you can see the changes that they're making.
3 months, okay.
You're like, I thought it was a month.
I really did. I was like, I'm not doing 90 days.
Yeah, 3 months. Of course.
Still have time. Oh, back here. And the young lady remembered her question as well.
As Jason's heading back, I was wondering, I'm over here, sorry.
Hey.
I was wondering, you asked us to take pictures of the slides. Would those be available after if we emailed you or reached out?
Yeah.
So we can just reach out and get the slides?
Yeah, just reach out and get the slides, guys.
And then the one other question I had is, you've really laid out a great content strategy. I think for someone who's content impaired a little bit, I'm wondering if you can give us guidance about taking that first step. Do we need to be, you talked a lot about connecting to our audience, but what if we're like, I don't know if this is going to land. Do we just take that step? How do we start?
Okay, so here's how you start. This is very much a plug, so just be ready for it, okay? So when you scan this code, I have a Visibility Made Easy planner. It's available on Amazon, and you can actually buy the planner, and then if you message me once you buy the planner, I can send you the digital copy so you get started right away, and that will actually show you how to understand who your audience is, understanding what visibility things you should be doing, understanding how to create your goals, all the things. Very much a shameless plug.
Thanks.
I have one more question. At what point would you point a client or someone that you're working with towards using a professional production company or photographer or director for their content versus just doing it themselves, if at all?
Girl, I love that you said that. You give me another opportunity to do a shameless plug. Okay, so I tell people if you're not gonna do it, and so we have a client, her name is De Haviland. She's been my client for over 3 years. I literally, for 3 years, would be like, De Haviland, here's your video topics, here's your scripts, here's all the things. Send me the videos on Tuesday. Tuesday comes. De Haviland, where's my videos? Oh, Carrie, things happen. Literally, 3 years. Finally, I created an offer called Videos Made Easy, and I was like, De Haviland, I'm gonna get on Zoom with you. We're gonna record your videos and you're gonna get them done. Literally, we finished her video, she started crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, I never knew how much weight me not being able to have somebody just holding my hand through the video process was to be actually able to get them done. So that's what we do that for, because we realize that if you're not gonna get them done, if you keep procrastinating, just get somebody to hold your hand through the process.
Hi again. Hey. I wrote it down this time, so I got it. My name is Jasmine. Hi, and I work with Rooster Magazine, and we have a lot of cannabis companies that we work with. And so I keep running into this problem that we can only create a certain kind of content because there's rules in place. So I'm curious if there's anywhere to find these rules laid out, if you know of that answer or not, for people in a position like mine where I'm running cannabis companies, social media.
It's funny, I was talking to a guy, I think a couple weeks ago, he has a cannabis company. I think it's looking at I think it was about his location, and then we were looking at federal laws and state laws is what we were looking at for him. So look at federal laws and state laws as just understanding your metrics, but a lot of times it's all about figuring out ways that talks about the experience and not the product. So that would be probably a way to get over it, because not talking about the product, but talking about the experience and what the experience creates. Yeah, of course.
I have a question myself. So let's say that you want to break into a market like in France, overseas, and we all know how crazy French people are, right? Are there any French people in the audience today? Oh, my dear friend Karine. Okay, sorry, I didn't know you were there. But in terms of like knowing your customer, right? Now we're crossing the pond. We're thinking of a different culture that has a lot of historical context to it. Are you? What is the matrix, or what is the process by which you go to research and understand how they react, or is there like this common denominator with all humans that we respond to certain things no matter where in the world we grew up or where we come from?
So how you want to think about it is, first, when you're trying to understand who your audience is, you want to understand who they are as people, how do they work, and what catalyst needs to happen for them to be able to take action. So that is everywhere. But then the questions and your answers will be specific to the person. So if you're like, hey, my person is a French person, and it's a French mom, she's 34, she's a stay-at-home mom, she kind of maybe lost her identity a little bit because her child is young and she's trying to like come back into her identity. Asking yourself, like, understanding who she is as a person, and then saying what is the catalyst that's necessary for her to take action. What things has to happen in her life that's going to put her in a position you're like, you know what, I need to go ahead and do this.
We do have Carol. Hold on. And I know Carol's going to ask this. I'll preempt this. Where do you get your glasses from?
Where was it? iLabs in Atlanta.
Thanks for sharing all this.
Of course.
I was just curious, how are you using AI in your work? And you get a lot done, so what are your favorite tools for staying organized and making all the ducks get in a row?
Yes, so for AI, I use ChatGPT, I use Cast Magic, and then there's one of my friends, she created this AI tool called Marketing Magic. So I use a lot of those, and then the tools that I love using are going to be ClickUp, Slack. We use a platform called Go High Level for all our websites and things like that. But I try to keep my tech stack simple. I feel like when I start doing a lot, it doesn't work for me.
This might be another opportunity for a shameless plug.
Okay, here it is.
Sorry for you all having to listen to my voice again. But a lot of what I'm hearing you say is about the ICP, or ideal client profile, and really building that out and like being very specific with your client profile to like titles of, when I've done this for companies, building their title, what are their pain points, what's keeping them up at night, what are they trying to deliver to their bosses. Do you have a recommended approach for how you might start an ICP?
Another opportunity for a shameless plug. So in the planner, I have like this little pie chart, and it asks those questions, and it kind of gives you different ideas of how to think about it. And then so normally you have maybe like 2 to 3 people that you serve. So you might serve Rebecca, Kristen, and Paul. Those might be your people. And you're going to write that ICA for all of those people, asking what are their catalysts for each of them? How do they live for each of them? How do they work for each of them? Also, you're also going to do it for yourself. Because a lot of times, our people are normally parallel to who we are. So understanding who we are a little bit first, and then saying, okay, now that I understand who I am, what are the things that I can help people with, or how can I do that parallel understanding of how they need to make sure they feel seen, heard, and understood? So get the planner. It's amazing. I worked really hard.
It's me again.
Hey, girl.
So I just want to know, like, I've had some huge wins here lately with what it is that I'm doing.
Can we give a round of applause for the wins?
So I recently won like the National UPS Small Biz Challenge, and I'm getting ready to have like this feature in the Inc. magazine. And I was interviewed this morning by CBS Denver. So
amazing.
How can I be intentional around that, given like the strategies that you?
So first of all, what's going to be really important is really going back to your foundational content, because there's going to be so many new people coming into your world. So they're going to want to know who you are, why you do what you do, what is your intellectual property that's different from other people, making sure you hit on those fundamental pieces. is going to be really important. After that is being able, when you see somebody come to your page, I know it's a little tedious, reach out, be like, hey, what brought you here? Really just add that human connection point. Hey, friend.
Those are all the questions for now? Oh, we have one more.
I was going to ask, how do you balance the difference between just general brand awareness we run a service-based business versus when that client they only maybe need to use us once every 6 months, once every year. How do you balance that with just a general brand awareness?
So first, what's going to be really important is for you to make sure you have a really good lead magnet. And you want to make sure whatever your lead magnet is very much hitting on when they need you and kind of giving them that quick wins there. And then also with your content, creating situations to where they start thinking about, oh, this is why I need them, and I might need them earlier than 6 months.
Okay, well, I think that concludes today's presentation. Carrie, do you have one last little plug?
I have one more thing.
Oh, one more thing.
Can I borrow my phone? Thanks. He's so amazing. We're so grateful. Okay, so what we're gonna do, my coach told me to do this, guys, so I promise it wasn't me. We're gonna take like a mini selfie, okay? I'm not tall, and my arms are like a little T-Rex, so we're gonna see how this goes, okay? All right, actually we're gonna do a video. I can do those better. Where is it? Okay. And we're gonna say that we learned today and we had so much fun, and we're gonna do all the things, make people feel like they're missing out, okay? All right, ready? Hey guys!
Hey!
You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much for coming.